はい、Sorry, I cannot speak Japanese, but はじめまして、私の名前はサミュエルです。そしてよろしくお願いします。Yeah, today I'm going to discuss the Korea's competition law and its main developments in 2022, but usually I'm going to address the basics, structures, and what the Korea law stipulates and what's the main factors of anti-competitive practices under competition law. Main developments, well, if we have still enough time and if you not get bored, then I will move to main developments in 2022. Okay, I hope you enjoy. And then, okay. Oh, right. Yeah. Thank you. During my presentation, if you have any questions, just to raise your hand, just free any time you can intervene during my presentation, then I would be happy to discuss with you. First, I'm going to start with the basic notions of competition law, what competition law is in a modern sense. Modern competition law, at least since 2000, is regarded as a public policy measure to maintain the pro-competitive market economy in a broad sense by means of a form of public intervention alongside the possibility of private litigation against anti-competitive practices based on ex post effect-based analysis. I highlighted the 3 points. First is the pro-competitive market economy, which means that if the market system is really closed or allocative system is just a planned economy, then this is not the best place where competition law applies. Competition law, yeah. No worries, yeah. Competition law needs to be applied in a free and liberal market. That's the first point we have to keep in our mind. And second point is that public intervention is possible. As we all know that we have freedom to make a contract, but for some reasons, for example, for the reason of public interest and the competitiveness of the market, and the government can intervene and break the contract relationships, and you made the wrong choice. This is the really peculiar part and the interesting part of the modern competition law. And the third point is that competition law intervenes in principle. Of course, there are market control and many other rules, but in principle, competition law intervenes based on ex post effect-based analysis. So it must be differentiated with ex ante regulation, sector-specific regulation. For example, you may have already well aware of the platform regulation, which is composed of ex ante rules. For example, platform operators can do this, Google can do this, and Apple cannot do this. But competition law basically is not that kind of law. Competition law is more about you can do whatever you want, but if its effect comes with really negative effect on the public interest and market economy or society, then this practice, this specific conduct should be prohibited under competition law. That's the spirit of the modern competition law. And secondly, then the competition laws, what's the competition laws concerns? When competition law intervene? As I already mentioned earlier, competition law is only concerned about external constraint of freedom of contract. That's the difference between competition law and the contract law. Contract law cares more about the internal structure of the contract. For example, information asymmetry, or if I make a contract, but I didn't know anything about the substance of the contract, then contract law can intervene. But the competition law is not about the bilateral relationship. More than that, competition law is concerned more about the external effect of the contract or the economic behavior. Why? Third one, rational. Then why we need competition law? Why the government allows agency, special agency, to intervene in the market using competition law? The rationale is as follows. When efficient competitors are locked out of a relevant market, there must be a relevant market which is composed of a substitutable products. When there is no competitors and they are excluded from the market, then the remaining incumbent, the remaining company can dominate the market. And then, oh, there is no any other competitor, so I can just extract a lot of values from consumers. For example, Google dominates the search market. Then, of course, I love Google, but just let's make an example. Google dominates the search market, and it can extract data or your search history or whatever, many things from you because it dominates the market. But if there are so many competitors in the market, it may not be able to do that because consumers will choose other things. Google is not a very good choice, and I would choose the Bing or Microsoft or DuckDuckGo or whatever. So this is the rationale of the modern competition. Why government use competition law tool to intervene in the market, despite the freedom of contract. Okay. No questions so far. Okay. So let's deep dive a little bit deeper. So as you all know, the competition law is composed of mainly two parts. First one is exclusive behavior. Second one is unilateral conduct. If there are many competitors, if there are many companies engaged in problematic conduct, then we can use tool of cartel or collusive behavior or many other relevant tools. But in the case of unilateral conduct, you can use abuse of dominance or abuse of superior bargaining power or unfair trading practices in Korea and Japan. In the case of unilateral conduct, the government needs to prove two requirements. The first one is the power. There must be a power concentration in the market, and second one is abuse and the harm. Power here means the substantial market power. It's just my concept, and the Europeans and Korea's concept. You have to keep in mind that the expression might be a little bit different because in the United States they sometimes just use the word of market power, but in the Europe, as far as I know, and the Korea, we use the expression of substantial market power. Market power itself, very normal thing, means with a 30% market share or 40% market share or 20% market share, it's going to be really powerful in the market. However, if the market power goes really at a really substantial level, for example, 100% or 90%, then it will have dominance in the market. And substantial market power. So where is the substantial market power? In order to find out the substantial market power, we have to first delineate the scope where the substantial market power can be found. Only in that case, we can find the substantial market power. For example, Coca-Cola may be seen as an undertaking with substantial market power. However, this means that we delineate and demarcate the scope of market as Coke market. However, if we include a relevant market like a drink market, orange juice and coffee and whatever, so many things, then Coca-Cola doesn't have dominance in this market, whether this relevant market definition is correct or not. So how can we define the relevant market correctly? We have to focus on substitutability. Today, I want to drink soda, but I can choose Coca-Cola. But if I really want to drink a soda, then I cannot choose Americano or just espresso because it's totally different. So in this case, we call it there is no substitutability between the two products. So the modern competition law is basically based on the concept of substitutability. when there is a substitutable products in the market and power is concentrated to one undertaking, then we will find it as dominant player in this market. So why substantial market power is problematic? It's the same words, but I can explain the substantial market power as the capacity to bring about changes in the market outcomes as intended. As we have already discussed, if Coca-Cola has a really strong market power in the drink market, then it may find itself, oh, there is no other competitors in the market, so we can raise our prices, for example, just $9 or $10. But this is far beyond the competitive level. For example, if there are so many competitors in the Coke market, then Coca-Cola would have not able to increase the price. However, if Coca-Cola have a substantial market power, then it can bring some changes in the market. So that's the basic concept of the power. And abuse. It's a very interesting concept. Coca-Cola can raise their price. However, if Coca-Cola's price is too high, then other competitors can intervene. Oh, Coca-Cola is too expensive and the consumers are not really happy with that. Then we can make alternative Coca-Cola, like Coca-Cola or whatever. Then Coca-Cola will lose its market power in the Coca-Cola market. However, the new entry sometimes is frustrated by Coca-Cola's some behaviors. For example, Coca-Cola can make distribution agreements with supermarket chains. Then you can only deal with Coca-Cola's, not any other products. So in this case, the new entries may not be able to find any channels to enter into the market. So what we have to think is that whether one's conduct is exclusive or not, and whether one's conduct, Coca-Cola's conduct, exclude other efficient competitors entering into the market. So that's the second part of the requirement to for the competition law to intervene in the market, despite the freedom of contract. Okay. I think, is it too easy, or is it okay to follow? For you to, it's okay? Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna dive much deeper. I mean, intervention timings. So, okay, I understand that there are theories and the concept and many other things, but when can you use competition law? Coca-Cola, when Coca-Cola get the dominance, or when Coca-Cola decides to exclude other competitors, or we can wait until the real exploitative effect happen. So this is the graph and the picture that I just explained. If you believe the market system is really fragile and the government needs to play a certain role in the market to protect the market mechanism, then competition law can intervene at an earlier stage. But if you strongly believe that, for example, in the United States, if you strongly believe that market is very robust and we can believe the market mechanism self-correction system, then we can wait until the price increases for a long time, which means that new competitors may not be able to come in, and market has already distorted. Okay, from now on, I'm going to discuss the very details of Japan's and Korea's competition law. Japan, as you know, the competition law is called AMA in a simple way. and it was introduced in 1947. And as far as I know, it was the second. It was the second introduction of competition law in a modern sense. The first one was the United States, and Japan introduced secondly the modern competition law, and Korea introduced its competition law 1986, modeled based on Japanese competition law and made prohibitions. So Korea competition law is based on the Japan's competition law. So there are so many commonalities and similarities between two laws. First one, the main prohibitions is anti-competitive agreements and decisions of associations and vertical restraint. And also Korea and Japan and Korea both prohibit abusive or monopolizing practices by wielding substantial market power. Also, exploitative practices and unfair trading practices, including abuse of strict bargaining position, is prohibited. This part is a really peculiar part of the Korea and Japan and Korea's competition law, because in the United States, these are not in principle, not addressed under the competition law, antitrust law. But Japan and Korea have such rules in their competition law system. And of course, European Union is a little bit different. The European Union has a specific rule for regulating, prohibiting exploitative practice. So you have to keep in mind that what's the components of the Korea and Japan's competition law, and what's the difference between United States and European Union's competition law. Okay, this is I think I've already shared my slides, so you don't need to put a lot of focus on this table, but I just summarized all the parts. But maybe someday later it might be really useful for your study. I hope, because if you look at the specific provision of Article 3, for example, you can easily find out that the Korean competition law stipulates the same thing in Article 40. And Article 1, they look really also similar, and vertical restraints also similar, and unilateral. The whole structure of the law looks really similar. Okay, and then let's look at the first article of those two rules. First, I'm going to start with the Korea's competition law. Korea's competition law, its purpose is, it says that to promote fair and free competition by regulating illegal cartel conduct and unfair trading practices, thereby encouraging creative business activities, protecting consumers, and promoting the balanced development of the nation's economy. And Japan's competition law also regulates the same thing. The purpose of this act is to promote the fair and free competition, and stimulate the creative initiative of enterprise, encouraging creative business activities, and encourage business activity, democratic and wholesome development of the national economy. It doesn't say anything about democracy, but it's enshrined indirectly within the text. So wholesome development of the national economy and security interest of the general consumers. Consumers' interest protection is also included in the Article 1 of the MRFDA, Korea's competition law. So if you look at the original text, not English translation, if you look at the original text of the Korean competition law, you can easily find out what's the similarities between how similar of these two rules. However, competition is really important concept, but we have to be really cautious when talk about the competition. Competition law is about competition, not competitors. That's one of the most interesting part of modern competition. Competition law is not to protect the competitors, it's about to competitive process or competition as such, or consumer welfare, which can be stemmed from the robust competitive process. So Korea's competition law is also interpreted in this way. The Supreme Court says that if certain strategic business activities are held to violate the law which regulate against the distortion of competition, just because such business activities more or less put other enterprises in a disadvantage. It's really bad, and Coca-Cola is doing too good, or Google is doing too good. There is only Google in the market. Only based on only this reason, we cannot sanction Google, because if we do that, then the regulations would be work for the protection of competitors, not for the protection of competition. And corporate business activities are thereby unfairly constricted. So it's really bad for consumers. We may want other than Google in search market, but it must be based on the market efficiency and efficiency of competitors, not the government planning or government support to raise another competitor in the market artificially. In the case of horizontal restrictions, I just compared those two equivalent provisions. Japan, in the case of Japan, Article 3 and Article 2(6) are about horizontal restrictions, and in the case of Korea, Article 41 would be about agreement. If you look at the numbers on the right side, right upside, then in 2022, there are 50 cases with fines that has been rendered by the KFTC, and 7 cases without fines has been rendered by the KFTC. So if you include the decision of associations, then it would be much bigger than only horizontal restraint cases. The 5 more cases can be found, and 11 more cases without the fines can be found. So what I want to show you here is that in Korea, horizontal restriction is really active, and the KFTC is also vigilant against the horizontal restraint. And this is the vertical restraint. Vertical restraint is one of the most tricky parts in Japan and Korea's competition law, because we have unfair trading practices, and fair trading practices sometimes are regarded as unilateral conduct, but actually it's not unilateral conduct. What vertical restraint really care is not about the forcibility or whether one undertaking is forced by other undertaking. What competition law really is cared about is whether it raises any effects on the market. For example, whether other competitors are excluded from the market, or the level of competition is decreased in the market because of the conduct. So vertical restriction is really important part in competition law, and the time is one of the most representative case of a vertical restraint. Let's say I want to buy just laptop computer without the mouse or any other keyboard. I don't need keyboard because I just only need a laptop computer. But let's say Asus. Yeah, this company dominates the market. Dominates the laptop computer market. Then the Asus may think that we want to raise our profits by tying mouse or keyboard to the laptop computer. So we can force consumers to buy keyboard and mouse when they want laptop computer. But you don't want to buy keyboard. You may only want laptop computer. So this is time. If government allows this practice, then the Asus can leverage its power to dominate the keyboard market as well. Because other keyboard sellers, there may be other keyboard sellers, but if you sell laptop computer with keyboard, keep selling to consumers, then other keyboard makers may not be able to compete with this laptop computer maker, because consumers want this laptop computer, so they always have to buy the keyboard. Then the competition law says that in this case, not only this conduct is really bad, but also other keyboard makers are excluded from the market. So that's the reason why tying practices are prohibited under competition law. So, but in what I want to emphasize also is that this ASUS doesn't need to be dominant in the laptop computer market. Let's say its market share is 30% in the laptop computer market, but also it holds a significant share of market in the keyboard market, for example, 20% or more than 20%, then in both market, it has a kind of market power, then it can exclude other competitors in the market. So you have to understand that dominance is not the very decisive factor. What matters is that whether the effect take place because of the conduct. In Korea, the leading case is Microsoft. Microsoft, as we all know, they're really a powerful player in the computer OS market, Windows. They dominate the market, Windows. And they sell media service and media player and other product. As far as I remember, it's MSN, yeah, Messenger. And they tied Messenger service and media player to Windows OS operating system, and they sell this to consumers. But consumers didn't want to buy media player as well. But the real intention of the Microsoft was to leverage its market power to dominate the media player market and the social network service market as well. So the KFTC intervened in the market and sanctioned the Microsoft not to do that, to separate those two products and give consumers choices. RPM is the abbreviation of the resale price maintenance. It's also regarded as one type of arbitrary practices in Japan and Korea. It looks really bad at a first glance because I sell this to you, distributors, and you can sell this to other consumers. For example, I can sell this to you, you can sell this to other consumers, but not below, for example, $10. You have to sell this to higher than $10, for example, $11 or $12. The first, it's preventive to against the seller's freedom of business. The second, it may raise the price level of this product, and so it harms consumers' welfare. That's the reason why the RPM is prohibited under the competition law. And those two rules stipulate like this. However, if you look at the blue side, this is really important part. I can sell this to this guy, this guy, this guy. And you can only sell this to above the $10. It restricts intra-brand competition. However, someone may argue that I did it to prevent free riding issue. For example, this seller, he's a really diligent guy. He's a really nice guy. He wants to decorate his market to attract many consumers, and he wants attract many consumers at a really he wants to sell this at a really good atmosphere. he invested a lot of money to decorate his own shop. However, this guy is really bad and really lazy. He doesn't want to invest a lot of money to his shop, and he just care about the money. And this guy sell this to consumers at $11. However, it already invested $9 to decorate his shop. Let's say this lazy guy look at him and oh, $11. Okay, I want to also sell this to $11 consumers, $11 at $11. Then this guy must be really angry, right? Because I put a lot of energy and money into this business, but he did nothing. So far, it's okay, but let's say, oh, $11, I can sell this to $10, and consumers may go this way, and then oh, $11 is more expensive, and then I want to buy this one. I enjoyed shopping here, but I want to buy this product here much cheaper, at a much cheaper price. Of course, this shop looks really bad, but anyways, I can buy this product at a lower price. So consumers buy a lot of products here at this shop at lower prices. This guy would be really upset, and he will not invest his money to his own shop as well. So it's the race to the bottom. In order to prevent this problem, I set the minimum price. So you have to sell this to consumers at least $11, So you have to invest, for example, some money to decorate your shop like this. This is one of the justifications of the undertakings subject to RPM obligations. So we call it RPM may restrict intra-brand competition, but it may foster and increase the inter-brand competition. Maybe with this one, we can invest a lot of money and resources to improve the quality of this product, to compete with other brands. So if inter-brand competition has been increased a lot thanks to the RPM practices, then court and the NCA and the competition authority allows this kind of practices. And sales restrictions is also one of the most interesting, one of the most important form of sales restriction is exclusive dealing. You can sell this to consumers. However, you have to buy this product at least 90% of your need. So you need 100 this product. However, you have to buy this product to me at least 90 or 80. This is exclusive dealing because it may need this product as well. So it may think that I'm going to take 50% of this product and 50% of this. Then I can give more choices to consumers. However, I'm a really powerful player, then I can force him to buy almost all parts of his demand from me, 90% or 80%. Then this kind of practices may have an effect to exclude these competitors from the market. So that's the reason why competition authority and the court prohibit such practices. Okay, unilateral conduct. But I think we've already discussed about abuse of substantial market power or the monopolization was the bad aspect of those two kind of practices. What I want to show you is that a tiny or big differences between the two is that Japan doesn't prohibit abuse of dominance, but it stipulates the monopolization is prohibited. The Korean law says that, like European Union's law, the abuse of market dominant position is prohibited. I don't want to address the very details of these two differences, but you have to keep in mind that Japan follows the United States way, and Korea follows the European Union's way, especially in the matter of abuse of dominance and unilateral conduct. So, so far, there would be no questions, or do you have any comments, or is it okay? Okay. So main developments in 2020. I'm gonna show you what happened in last year in Korea and collusion cases. And the first one is car emission cartels. This case, I think you may have already well aware of this case because it happened in European Union first. The Korean Competition Authority found that it may be also problematic in Korea as well. So German car makers, in this case, German car makers agreed not to compete for the AdBlue tank sizes. You don't need to remember all the details of the case, but you can just think that they made a cartel about the technology, which is good for environment. And they reached a common understanding of the average estimated AdBlue consumption, which means that the sustainability, the pro-environment technology was limited because it's too expensive, and they don't want to fight against each other because of this technology. They just want to compete with each other factors. So it was not necessarily bad for consumers, but it's bad for environment and the future consumers. So that was one of the counter arguments of the lawyers and the businesses. But anyways, the European Commission sanctioned this kind of cartel based on the quality part, and the Korean Competition Authority is now reviewing this case, but it has not been decided yet because the Korean Competition Authority is now considering whether this type of contract and collusion is really bad for consumers, and whether its impact is really huge in Korean market because it's German car makers agreement. So, but there are some other Korean makers, for example, Hyundai or Kia or other and Japanese makers as well in Korean market. So the KFTC is still considering whether this car emission cartel is illegal under the competition law. What I want to say is that first, we need to see the effect of the market system, effect of the whether this kind of conduct impact on the market. The second is that whether it's really bad for consumers. The second case is about AstraZeneca and Alvogen case, pay for delay agreement. But as I stated here, Alvogen received exclusive distributed right for 3 anti-cancer drugs here, including Jordex in Korea, in return for delaying the launch of the generic version of the Jordex. There were two pharma companies, and one company was developing a generic product, and this company is the original drug maker, and it was really upset about the development activity of this undertaking. So it approached it to this company and said that if you stop developing your generic drug, then I would give you some benefits like exclusive distribution rights. And then this company was really happy with that. Oh, okay, I accept your proposal, and I'm going to stop developing, and I'm not going to sell this to consumers. However, it's very interesting, but this company anyways continued the developing activity, but failed. So it was not able to develop any kind of generic product. But anyways, the KFTC says to make an agreement is illegal itself, and its effect is very likely to affect the market. So even if you failed in developing a new product, a competing product, then I can sanction you because you made an agreement with a really bad intention. And there was three RPM cases, which was under Article 46 of the MRFTA. And but from a legal perspective, those cases are not that important because it's really typical RPM cases, setting the low prices. And secondly, I want to say the exclusive dealing, there was one case, which is called Iconsoft. Iconsoft was an intermediary app operator that connects designated drivers, locally called the replacement drivers. When you get drunken, you can just call a driver, then can you please drive my car? Because I'm not drunken. This is intermediary app operator, or you can call it the platform. But the company was accused of restricting the driver users from accessing rival apps. There are several other apps in the market, but it restricted the driver's access to other apps by delaying calls. If you access if you use other apps, then I would delay calls from individual users and manipulating some device settings of multi-homing driver users. So it hindered driver users' use of other apps. So it was a problematic from the perspective of KFTC. So it was sanctioned by the KFTC. And the effect analysis was really truncated, was really simple because Iconsoft had the competitive intention and the exclusive effect of this conduct were obvious and evident with no justification. That's what the commission says. That what we have to keep in mind that the intention is really important factor, but it's not decisive factor. So whether you had an intention, exclusive anti-competitive intention, is not a decisive factor, but the commission can consider whether Microsoft engaged in such conduct with a bad intention. If its intention is really bad, then it can intervene more easily into the market. And yeah, abuse of super bargaining position, I don't think it's really important. So yeah, here, yeah, so far I just browsed some developments of the Korea competition law. Thank you very much for your listening. ありがとうございます。